the first topic of the show. The Suns fired Frank Vogel. 49 wins this past year. Got swept in the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And now they're planning to hire Mike Budenholzer. What do you think on both sides? Them firing Frank Vogel and them immediately hiring Mike Budenholzer to come coach this team. Dallas, I'll start with you.
I'm wondering why you want to start with me. We have different opinions, I think. The Phoenix Suns aren't going to get fixed hiring Mike Budenholzer. I think that's probably clear to some of us at this table, some of us out there. I don't think the issues that Phoenix had this season was with coaching. Was Frank Vogel the perfect coach? No, but I don't think he was someone that deterred them from ultimately ending at their fate of losing in the first round, coming up short, not winning a championship. The issue with Phoenix is clear. It's on the roster. You don't have a point guard. You have a lot of players with overlapping skill sets. You have Bradley Beal, who's on arguably, if not the worst contract in the NBA. And you have that as well, which is part of the reason why, because he's getting paid $50+ million for the next 3 years. And you probably can't move off of him unless you're going to attach a ton of picks, which they don't have, which is another issue. They don't have any of their future draft picks outside, I think 22 or 23 this year. Budenholzer, I think he's going to come in. He has championship pedigree. I do think that, as you mentioned in the past, Joel, bringing in more of an offensive-minded guy to try to work with this offensive-minded group is possibly a plus. But on the opposite side, when they brought in Frank, I thought, okay, you're bringing in a defensive guy because you already kind of have offense figured out, or at least we think you do, because you have so much skill on offense. You have two of the best jump shooting mid-range players in the league. You have one of the top coming into the season, top or 6-7 player with KD, and arguably the best Robin, and now Bradley Beal. We thought the offense would be fine. And while it had its moments for sure, especially when the big three was healthy, it also had its moments where it looked really clunky, especially in those fourth quarters, especially in those clutch moments. So more than anything, this feels like Frank Vogel, you're the scapegoat here. Of course, the article comes out with Shams saying that, there's players laughing at him when he's raising his voice, and it kind of lost the locker room of the team, so someone had to get scapegoated. But I don't know if just inserting a new coach, although Budenholzer was probably the best available on the open market, yes. To the Suns' credit, he was probably the best option out there. I don't know if just putting him in the head coaching chair, letting him fill out his staff, and all of a sudden we're going to next season. And the Suns are a legit contender in the West. I think they're a team that their ceiling is always going to kind of be what it is. Depending on matchup, they could potentially win a playoff series because KD and Devin Booker, especially in the playoffs, we've seen them rise in moments. But if you think that this big three all of a sudden is going to work and it has the championship level upside and the number one seed upside that we thought coming into this season, I don't see that with this hire.
The Suns, to me, feel like they are trying to still find a way to make this roster work. And I don't blame them too much for it because what are you going to do? What's the alternative? And that's really what it comes down to. When you're the head of a basketball team, you're looking at all different directions. It's very easy for us to say they should just rebuild. They should trade their players. They should, get a young star. But the flip side to that is now you don't have players that fans really want to come in and see on a consistent basis and buy your tickets. That's number one. Number two is you don't own your picks. So they can't blatantly tank because they don't own their picks, which means you have to still kind of remain somewhat competitive. And I feel like this move does that. I think Frank Vogel was scapegoated.
I just want to add one thing. I think a third point, too, is you bring in a new owner in Matt Ishbia. His idea was go get Kevin Durant. His idea was go get Bradley Beal. So is he going to turn around in 1 year and say, I made a mistake? I think that's a big issue, too.
No, because I think the way he views it, he's aggressive. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to make moves. In his press conference, the exit and press conference, he said that picks are used to acquire proven talent. I don't agree with that thought because I feel as if you can get proven players through the draft if you scout well and you have a good development system. And I feel like they're at a spot in this year's draft with the 22nd overall pick to where they can draft a player that can contribute right away. But neither here or there, they're not just going to push the panic button and rebuild in 1 year. They're going to try to make this work. How it's going to work, I have no idea because it's going to be hard. Royce O'Neal's a free agent. Grayson Allen, they signed back. They're $20 million over the second tax apron. And it's just going to, I don't know if you could trade Bradley Beal.
No.
You probably can't. And you can't trade one of Kevin Durant or Devin Booker because if you trade Kevin Durant, Devin Booker is going to be calling and he's going to be on his way out the door. So I can understand them running it back. I think Mike Budenholzer is a perfect coach for this type of team, though, because you need an offensive-minded coach that will at least try to build a system around your 3 stars. I feel like Frank Vogel, the offense got very stale after timeout plays. They almost never got they never got a bucket. Frank Vogel on defense, he made this team a top 15 defense on paper. He did what he could with the defense, but on offense, this got to be a top 5 offensive team in the league to justify the move of getting all these 3 offensive players on the same team. And that, I think Budenholzer can do that.
You want to go?
No, you go.
I want to add to what you two said because coaching is very important in the NBA, but ultimately coaching comes second to personnel. And you can ask Quinn Snyder in Atlanta how it's gone. When he came in from Utah, a lot of us are optimistic about the hire. He got a very good coach. Mike Budenholzer's 10 years track record dating back to Atlanta is pretty damn good. Milwaukee, he comes in after Jason Kidd was fired, and he immediately made them a number 1 seed, elevated their defense, and built a blueprint around Brook Lopez and Giannis together. But with the Suns, there's not the personnel for him to kind of create that blueprint right now. You talked about it. Some of their most important players are going to be free agents. And I like Yusuf Nurkic. He's going to have to be the defensive foundation, the linchpin, the rim protector. And I just don't see that right now in this stage of his career. So I look at the Budenholzer hire, clearly the best coach in the market. He's proven. I think he's a top 10 head coach. Him taking a year away is good as well to kind of refresh himself. Some coaches need that after a lot of years of deep playoff runs. And he's also, for what it's worth, a guy from Phoenix as well. So that's another layer, another reason of meaning for him to be here. But again, I just come down to the Suns and their lack of resources. They wasted all of their second-round picks to go and get Bradley Beal. And right now, as you highlighted, there's an overlapping skill set between him and Devin Booker. And he's not going to be the 3-and-D wing that they really do need at the number 3 spot. So I think this is a really good hire, but doesn't move the needle until they find a true rim protector. And there's not many of those in the free agent cycle. It's not going to.
Hiring an offensive guy was always the move. It always should have been the move, even dating back to last offseason. You had a team, you looked at the personnel. This wasn't a defensive-minded team. It just didn't have the guys. Your best defender at the rim is Kevin Durant. Your best defender on the perimeter is probably still Kevin Durant. There just wasn't it wasn't a personnel, it wasn't a personnel for Vogel's type of defensive scheme that he likes to run.
Active, athletic wings
with a rim protecting big. He's always been that way, dating back to Indiana, the Lakers. He's always had those pesky wing defenders with a rim protecting big. So it was always a tough spot for him, and offense has never been his forte. So it was always a tough spot. This team is in a tough position because of Bradley Beal's contract. Not only the contract and the money, but the no trade clause. He decides where he gets to go. He decides what move that it's made. He decides his destination. And because of that, and on the top of that, he's playing like shit. So you have him not playing well, him kind of looking just out of whack, looking scared in the playoffs. That didn't, and then his injury history over the last couple of years hasn't been great. Takes into account he's getting paid $50 million and he has a no trade clause. It's hard to just trade him. Like the difference, like I feel like with Westbrook last year with the Lakers, they realized it didn't work. What did they do? They go out and trade Westbrook, it was a crazy contract, but they traded him for some pieces on the bench and they were able to make a WCF run. The Suns can't do that. They can't move Devin Booker because if you move Booker or KD, you have to move both. Grayson Allen is probably the one guy you can move, but you're now like losing your best 3-point standalone shooter, and you're going to get a wing defender. But now you have to find that type of wing defender that fits next to them 3. You still don't have a point guard. You'll probably have to go get one in the draft. But what if you have to attach that draft pick to go get a player with Grayson Allen? So it's such a muddy situation in just trying to build this roster. I mean, John, you mentioned it. Coaching is extremely important. It may come second to personnel, but that second is so important. And I feel like you got the coach right in terms of just what he brings offensively, what he has shown in the regular season. He's gonna make you a competitive team. But his defensive personnel, he likes to wing defenders and guards to funnel the player to the big man. They're a rim protector, and then the big man plays drop. Nurkic, unfortunately, is just not. He's none of that. He's not a defensive player at all. He's actually horrible on that end. And then Kevin Durant is just not at that age where he can be that. So now you're kind of putting Budenholzer in a sticky situation. But I think overall this is a good move. I think you went out, you got a good hire. I don't think this is a needle mover, but not everything can be a needle mover. You have to just start, building the tree slow. You have to start having good things going for yourself. So I think getting this coach is good, but the main problem that's always been with this roster has been personnel.
Matt Ishbia said 26 other NBA GMs would trade their whole team for our whole team.
He lied.
Yeah.
Maybe the 2 players.
Should we go over the teams that actually would?
Not many.
I have a game right here.
Teams.
Yeah, I would say it's like maybe 5.
I have a game right here. Would you rather be the Suns or these teams if you are a GM of these teams?
I like this.
The Suns or the Nets?
The Suns.
I'd rather be the Suns.
The Nets also don't have most of their picks.
They don't. Yeah,
but
they're also
Well,
getting
they
the
have a lot of
Suns
Suns
picks.
Yeah,
But still the Suns.
Some loose.
I
ends.
think I'd rather be the Nets.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I
They
think
have
I'd
the
rather-
Devin Booker piece, which is a humongous asset.
I think the
If,
reason.
if things go wrong in
That's
Phoenix,
insane.
you have assets
That's
to move
crazy.
off
I think
of.
That's
the
crazy.
reason why I would rather go the Nets because I feel like when you are the GM of the Suns, there's such a expanded amount of just expectations I just don't think you can reach.
Fair enough.
But,
But I think with
how
the
about in this
Nets-
scenario? You're the GM for the next 5 years. It's not just like because that. I get that. That's fair. Because in the Nets, like you're coming in, it's a rebuild. The Suns is like, listen, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't want to get fired. Let's just say you're GM for the next 5 years. It's stamped.
I still might take the Nets. You're about to get off on a lot of those contracts. You still have the Suns picks. You know, you can bring guys in. It's tough. Like I'd rather start from the bottom than be at the top knowing I can't get to the end goal.
You rather watch Mikal Bridges and Cam Thomas and Kevin
What
Durant
you're
and Devin
saying
Booker.
to us is you would rather have cap space, Mikal Bridges, and Cam Johnson, who's going to be
and
a
some
richer free
semblance of
Cam
picks.
Thomas.
over D Book and Kevin Durant.
I would rather those expectations of the Nets. Yes.
I don't like how you just didn't mention Cam Thomas in there.
Who would
Wasn't
you?
feeling that.
You've been talking
I'm
crazy
sorry.
about him.
You got
Who would you prefer, Suns
I was looking
or
at
the
their
Nets?
biggest
I would
contracts.
prefer the
Give me a break.
Suns.
Okay.
Because I think the Suns at least have something to look forward to.
I don't. What is there to look forward to?
You still have
Failure?
talent on a team.
You can, if things go right
there's
and
a
you
way.
get lucky, maybe you can really
I'd rather
compete.
be the Nets GM. I gotta fix this. Than be the Suns GM. Is like, look, the
The
expectations
thing,
are you have
but,
to
but
win.
with Phoenix is you could somewhat compete. You could win some playoff games for maybe a year or two, and then after that, once you trade Booker and KD, you're probably going to be in a
Booker's
better
getting the
position
Kings
than what the Suns.
but now I'm the GM
Nets are
that
in right
traded
now.
Devin Booker and Kevin Durant.
Fair enough.
I'd rather be the Nets.
When KD's like 38, bro. I don't
Then
think
you're
anyone's
trading your
looking
franchise
crazy.
player in Devin Booker.
Well, in this moment, everyone knows shit's not working. Got to make a move. Devin Booker requests a trade.
The next team, the Knicks.
The Knicks.
I'd rather be the Knicks.
Easily the Knicks.
It's not even a question.
I mean, I'd easily be
What's
the
that?
Knicks too. The Bucks.
I'd rather be the Bucks. I would
I'd
still
also
rather be the Bucks. I don't think they have holes on the roster for sure, but number one, you're in the East, so it's a hell of a lot easier to make an ECF or
breakthrough.
even a finals run. Just a couple things have to go your way.
Actually, I don't know. That
The Bucks roster is aging much more.
And they don't have any
And they'll
tradable
probably
picks
move off
really.
Giannis faster than the Suns move off KD and Book.
Everybody's old. Chris Middleton, Brook
Could be about the
Lopez,
same.
they're old. Dame is old.
It's close, but I would rather be the Bucks.
I'd rather be the Bucks.
I think this is
Giannis.
close too. I think they're both in pretty
And
awful
Dame.
situations.
I think I'd go to Suns.
And also, Giannis is the most highly valued asset over all of these players.
That means you'd rather be the Nets GM than the Bucks GM.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I definitely
Brett wants
don't. I
you got faith
definitely,
in
destroy
Cam
every-
Thomas.
I definitely no. On God, he's getting traded.
like
if I was
Burns
the first
and
in a
Brown.
heartbeat. I definitely.
Building
I would
teams.
never want to be the GM that moves Giannis, the franchise guy.
fair enough.
I couldn't do it.
I think I'd rather be the Suns than the Bucks.
Who
I'm
says
not
you have
gonna
to
lie.
move him?
Oh, brother. Ross, we have no picks, like none.
The Warriors.
I would rather be the Warriors with their young core.
I'd rather be the
Kuminga, Trace,
Warriors. They got some
Abraham,
picks. They got some
Embiid,
players.
I think I'd rather be the
Moses Moody.
Suns in this scenario.
Why?
I mean, the Warriors, their expectations are similar. Win a championship.
Yeah, but I think
Neither-
they're more,
there's no,
good.
but there's
they're
no
more
way.
fixable than the Suns.
You
They
think?
have their
I think so.
They have their draft picks.
How are they more
have their young
fixable?
core.
I think they have more pieces to move. I think they have draft
a
picks.
lot
They
of
can
pieces.
still move or trade or draft people.
Who's more
with
valuable in a trade, Kuminga or Grayson Allen?
Kuminga.
Kuminga.
I don't know if that's definite.
A large part of that's his upside, though. It's not.
It's
his
also
current
team
value.
dependent. If you're trying to compete, you're probably looking for Grayson Allen.
Most
If you're
likely.
maybe a team trying to take a shot on a younger player, it's going to be Kuminga.
Like I think on the trade market, Grayson Allen could go for more than Kuminga.
Where are they going for?
It depends
Two
on what they're
protected
going for.
first?
Maybe 2 first, yeah. I could
Two
see that. Maybe
fake
like a
picks.
player back,
Two like lottery protected
Two and a
first.
player back for
Joel.
who?
like a filler player,
Joel.
not a player like
For who?
that's on the level.
Joel.
Grayson or
The
Kuminga.
Suns have all their picks. Or sorry, the Warriors have all their picks, basically.
They do. I know they do.
Do you?
Minus some seconds.
But you're gonna get worse next year, probably. The Warriors are,
I don't know.
and
Maybe.
they already missed the playoffs.
Mhm.
The Suns didn't win a game.
yeah.
They
But
missed the playoffs.
They won
listen,
49 games.
Brother, I'm gonna be honest with you.
won the
Getting
same
swept in the
amount of
first round and the
postseason
team not
games.
missing the playoffs. It's no
They're-
like
they're a
it's,
similar boat.
It's a similar boat, brother.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked, would you rather be the Suns or Warriors?
I think.
GM?
That's
I think.
tough.
I think for me, it's
because with
Warriors.
the Warriors, you cannot like move off of Steph for no no way, no how.
No, yeah.
You can't.
But I think Phoenix, you can't really move off Booker.
So your biggest
and KD
trade
right now.
piece, your biggest asset, you can't. You're attached
But I think
to
it's
it.
more likely Booker or KD get moved than Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph might
So
retire.
if I'm
That's
the
why I
Suns
think
GM,
Steph's just like, I want to be here.
if I'm the Suns GM, I got a way to rebuild because I could trade these stars with the Warriors. You gotta ride it through.
No, you don't. We're a new GM.
So you can trade Steph. You trade Steph.
If you,
Given his attachment to the
you're a
organization.
new GM, you would probably trade Steph. You were thinking about it.
So you won't trade Giannis, but you trade Steph?
No, I said I wouldn't trade Steph.
Oh, okay.
But he said, Rod what? Everybody's gone. I'd trade everybody outside of Steph.
Steve Kerr's getting fired?
Yeah, for sure.
So what are we looking at? If you trade everybody outside of Steph, we're looking at Steph, Kuminga.
I don't know who wait, I just said everybody.
Yeah, so there's
So
nobody.
even Kuminga.
It's
I
Steph
would,
and
if I'm the GM,
Who would you keep?
I'm building around Steph one last time. So I'd trade Kuminga.
Okay, you're gonna keep AirPods and Trace.
I think you can. They're on 3 million. Like
You
they're,
keep Draymond.
yeah, you still.
So
he-
no
he's
one's
still-
actually
Why would
getting
you be
traded
moving
then.
AirPods?
Nah,
Or you're just moving Kuminga.
Move Kuminga. You move Wiggins. Like you.
Wiggins has like negative value.
Clay
right
and
now.
Chris Paul
Low
could
key.
be gone for agency, so you're gonna clip
Yeah.
a lot of cap space.
That's true. Chris Paul, you can
Yourself
still
some
you could throw him in.
mid-level
And you could
money.
throw some picks in.
Had some
You quite
solid
literally can't
rotation
move Bradley
players.
Beal.
The Suns don't own their picks, but they have first round picks.
Right, but
they have
there's not gonna
swaps.
be able to use them.
Yeah, they just get the lesser of the
and they
picks.
don't have any of their cap space. That's a big part of it too.
No,
Are they 20
I
mil
think
over?
You're right. Yeah,
April?
they have the 22nd.
They're
pick,
both
right?
shitty ass situations, honestly.
The Heat or the Suns.
I'd
Oh,
rather
I
be
played the
Miami.
Heat.
The Heat.
I'd rather be the Heat too. The Kings or the Suns.
The Kings.
Rather be Sacramento.
I'd rather be the Kings.
Damn, that's close, but I'd rather be Sacramento.
This is an interesting question.
I don't
right?
think it's that close.
What is
Depends
what,
on how far Keegan Murray grows.
that's the thing, yeah.
I think probably.
And
he's
again,
gonna
bro,
become
you
an
actually
all-star,
have
but-
stuff that could get
Yeah.
moved. Bradley Beal being there, just kind of a dead
rather-
pit
That's
of
true.
money.
I mean,
really
outside of
screws
Fox,
things
let's
up.
be honest, and this is a genuine, honest question. How valuable is Sabonis? Because you can't put him on many teams.
No.
To the right, you just need one team
Team
that wants him.
specific players. Are not
But then
gonna
what are
see
you getting
value,
back?
But
He's a great
Couple
player.
picks.
though.
Because I feel
You could
like
get some
no,
couple
I'm not.
picks, maybe
and
a player.
it's not even to slight Sabonis in a way, but he's just a player that can fit on certain situations on
Yes.
certain team or can help teams. So I'm saying like if we're talking about the hypothetical, we're thinking Kevin Durant and D Book get moved. Well, D Book gets moved way more than Sabonis. Like he'll
Yes.
get you way more.
Yes.
So it's like I don't even a Kevin Durant at this age will get you more than Sabonis. I feel like so if you're Sacramento, you're gonna be this team. They didn't make the playoffs either. So this is another team that didn't make the playoffs. Fox is young. He's got to get paid soon. You got
the
Sabonis.
Kings just have a lot
It's tough.
more upside.
They're about to lose
between-
Malik Monk.
They
They
are
are
going
losing
to lose
Malik
most
Monk.
likely Malik Monk. But look at Keegan
Davion
Murray.
Mitchell is okay.
Hey,
They
you
have
look
their
at
picks,
Keon
though, right?
Ellis's contract.
Keon Ellis
They've
is
got
good.
some
He's got a great
good role
contract.
players who are going to grow.
They have their picks, though, right?
I'd rather be Sacramento.
Yeah.
You got
There's
your picks.
flexibility
yes,
with
but no,
Sacramento.
it's
Yeah,
protected.
good amount.
So I think it might go to Atlanta some 1 year.
Yeah, Sacks.
I
Herder
think I
deal?
picked the Kings. It is close too.
Yeah.
The
I
last
don't feel
team,
great about that one.
the Clippers.
Rather be the Clippers.
They the same shit.
They are the same
They are.
shit. Is Paul
Actually,
George
you
coming
know-
back this offseason?
Thing, I
That's the
don't know.
question. Is James
You
Harden
know
coming
what,
back?
though? If those two guys are gone, I'd much rather be the Suns.
Yeah,
It's a tough spot to be in. 'Cause I just think,
because then you're stuck with Kawhi. Kawhi's kind of like
Clippers
Bradley Beal. It's kind of like dead money.
yeah,
You know,
the Clippers have a more
not even to say
complete
he's not
roster.
great, but it's just like who's gonna
But he
trade?
doesn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah, who's gonna trade for a guy who hasn't played in the playoffs?
Well, you're not looking to trade him if you're Clippers.
Well,
At
if you
least
lose
not yet.
PG and Harden, it's like all right, guys.
Should want to compete in. Who's going to want to go to the Clippers if they can't rely on Kawhi? In the
Everything is
playoffs?
relying on him. If he doesn't
Because
play,
the
you're
Clippers
fucked.
roster is
They can't really bring in
basically
anybody, to be
complete.
fair.
I
I
mean,
mean,
look at Zubac.
They always
at the
find a way.
5.
low key.
And their
I mean,
bench.
Westbrook got a super friendly, team friendly.
They brought
deal
in
for
Norman
him.
Powell.
Harden. They were able to
couple
trade
years
for
ago.
Harden. Norman Powell effects.
They can do it.
I'd rather be
Ballmer
the
or pay
Suns.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if
Really?
Harden leaves, that's a lot of money off your books.
I think if you'd rather be the Suns GM, it's just because Booker's trade value.
Yeah.
Only reason.
I also feel
And-
like they might just have a better chance to compete in the short term.
What's the Suns' pathway to
You
getting
love the
back to
Suns.
winning a playoffs?
You
I don't.
love-
what do
you
you mean,
love
bro?
also
I'm just
playoff
being
series.
objective.
You love the
If the
Suns.
Clippers lose Paul George, they cannot compete.
Yeah. But here's the thing: the Suns keep their big three. They cannot compete.
They can compete more than the Clippers. They'd be better than the Clippers.
Sure, it's not saying much. They both lost
Because
in
of
the first
Kawhi's
round.
health.